The Sound and the Fury. By William Faulkner. The story begins with the world as seen through the eyes of Benjy Compson. It is April 7, 1928, his 33rd birthday, though his mind is forever that of a child. He stands by a fence, watching men play golf on what was once his family's pasture. His caretaker, a young black boy named Luster, searches for a lost quarter, hoping to go to the show that evening. For Benjy, time is not a straight line, it is a river of sensations where past and present flow together. The sight of the golfers, the word caddy, the feeling of the fence, all these things trigger memories, pulling him back into the past. He remembers his sister, Caddy, who was his whole world. He remembers her smell, like trees in the rain. He recalls waiting for her by the gate when she came home from school, her cold, bright face against his. Caddy was his protector, his warmth in a confusing household. Their home, in Jefferson, Mississippi, is a place of fading Southern aristocracy and deep sorrow. Their mother, Caroline, is a perpetually frail and complaining woman, lost in her own neuroses. Their father, Jason Compson III, is a cynical, alcoholic intellectual who sees the doom of his family clearly but is powerless to stop it. And then there are Benjy's brothers, Quentin, tormented and idealistic, and Jason, bitter, pragmatic, and consumed by resentment. Benjy's memories are fragments of love and loss. He remembers childhood days playing in the branch with Caddy and Quentin. He recalls the death of his grandmother, Damody, and the strange, hushed behavior of the adults. He remembers Caddy's muddy drawers, a symbol of her lost innocence that haunted him even though he could not understand it. Most of all, he remembers the day Caddy, desperate for experience and escape, climbed the pear tree to look in the window at her grandmother's funeral, while her brothers watched from below. But the past is not just idyllic. Caddy grew up, and her promiscuity became the family's central trauma. Benjy senses her changing scent, from trees to something unfamiliar, and he cries out in his wordless despair. When Caddy loses her virginity, it shatters the fragile world of her brothers. For Benjy, it means the loss of his comforting presence. For Quentin, it is the destruction of his idealized concept of family honor and Southern purity. The narrative then shifts to the mind of Quentin Compson. It is June 2, 1910, the day he will end his life. He is a student at Harvard, far from Mississippi, but he carries the weight of his family's collapse with him. In his rented room, he listens to the ticking of his watch, a watch his father gave him, calling it the mausoleum of all hope and desire. Time, for Quentin, is the enemy, the relentless force that has brought Caddy's disgrace and his own powerlessness. His thoughts are a frantic, agonized stream. He is obsessed with Caddy's lost purity, with her lover Dalton Ames, and with his own failed attempt to be her protector. He even tells their father he committed incest with her, a desperate and fictional claim meant to unite them in a sin so great it would isolate them from the world. His father's response is one of profound, weary nihilism, suggesting that no sin is that dreadful, and that time ultimately erases all pain and meaning. Quentin spends his final day in a strange, detached ritual. He breaks the glass of his watch, tearing off its hands, yet it continues to tick inside his pocket, a sound he cannot escape. He packs his trunk, writes letters, buys 2 flat irons for weight, and walks through the streets of Cambridge, a ghost among the living. Every sight and sound, a jewelless window full of contradictory clocks, a glimpse of boys rowing on the river, ties back to Caddy, to home, to his unbearable failure. As the day wears on, his resolve hardens. He crosses a final bridge, his shadow flat on the water below, and steps into the next life, seeking the quiet that time and memory have stolen from him. Years later, the narrative continues on the same April day in 1928 with Jason Compson, the third son. Where Quentin was tortured by ideals, Jason is animated by a cold, calculating rage. He is the head of the household now, supporting his hypochondriac mother, the idiot Benjy, and Caddy's teenage daughter, Quentin, who is named after her dead uncle. Jason's life is a ledger of perceived injustices. He bitterly recalls the job in a bank that was promised to him, a job that vanished when Caddy's marriage fell apart after her husband discovered her pregnancy was not his. Now, Jason works in a farm supply store, hoarding money and nursing a deep hatred for his niece, whom he sees as the embodiment of her mother's sins. He secretly intercepts the monthly checks Caddy sends for her daughter's care, allowing the girl only glimpses of the money to keep her in line, while filling his own secret fund. On this Good Friday, his day is a series of frustrations. His niece, Miss Quentin, defiant and rebellious, plays truant from school. He chases after her, following a trail that leads him to a traveling showman, a man with a red tie who he believes is corrupting her. His pursuit is futile and humiliating, a public spectacle that only deepens his fury. He returns home, his need for control and order constantly undermined by the chaotic, decaying world of the Compson house. The final section of the story belongs not to a Compson, but to Dilsey, the black cook who has held the family together for decades. It is Easter Sunday. She rises in the dark, gets the fire going, and tends to Benjy, her voice a constant, patient force against the family's entropy. She takes Benjy, along with her own grandson Luster, to the local Negro church, where a powerful visiting preacher delivers a sermon about the beginning and the end, about resurrection. Dilsey listens and weeps, feeling the truth of it in her bones. "I've seed the first and the last," she says afterward. She has seen the Compsons' beginning and now lives through their end. That same morning, Jason discovers his life has been upended. His niece, Miss Quentin, has broken into his locked bedroom, stolen the hoarded money from his secreted box, thousands of dollars, her own money and his, and has run away with the showman. Jason's furious, frantic search for her is a comedy of failure and cosmic payback. He races to the sheriff, but his own lies and secret dealings prevent him from getting any real help. He drives madly down the road, but a splitting headache, a lifelong affliction, forces him to turn back, utterly defeated. His treasured control, his stolen fortune, is gone. Meanwhile, Luster, seeking to entertain Benjy on their carriage ride, takes a wrong turn around the town monument. For Benjy, who needs everything to follow its precise, familiar order, this is a profound violation. The world lurches into chaos. He begins his terrible, agonized moan, the sound of his entire universe coming apart. It is only when Jason, returning from his fruitless chase, storms over, hits Luster, and violently wrenches the carriage back onto its proper route that order is brutally restored. Benjy quiets. The broken flower stem in his hand is upright once more. The carriage proceeds, its shadow sliding on the grass, the tall motionless wheels throwing wrinkled shadows on the grass. The sound and the fury of the Compson signify nothing, and in the end, there is only silence, and the slow, inevitable return to a meaningless, familiar path.